Salut coders, welcome back to another YouTube tutorial, and in this tutorial where I'm going to show you how to implement voice calls. And in this tutorial I implemented with Appwrite, Flutter, and you don't have to pay any cent to anyone, and we are using Flutter WebRTC for a library. So right now I'm waiting for a call. As you can see, someone is calling me. Let me answer this one.
Hello, how are you?
I'm great, and you?
Fine, thank you. How was your weekend?
My weekend was okay. What about yours?
It was great, thank you. Okay, can we chat on the app?
Okay, it's fine. Let's get started. So I just received a phone call and I answered it. And this is the chat. This is where we are right now. And I'm waiting for a message. Say hello. And I'm chatting with someone. And we are on this application. We are now able also to make voice calls. And in the next video, we shall implement video calls. So let's get started, guys. If you are new to this channel, may you kindly subscribe and click the notification bell so that you'll be notified whenever we upload the new videos. So before I go deep into the code, I think the best thing is I have to show you how the WebRTC works. And let me show you by an example, by some drawings. So yes, let's say here we have a phone A. This is our phone A. And this device wants to communicate with phone B. So here we have phone B. So with WebRTC, this device must have a direct communication from this to this. But it won't happen easily. So we want a device A to communicate with the device B. So the way WebRTC works, we have here on top, we have what is called a server. And this server, we call it a 10 server or a stand server. So this device A will send, for our connection, it will send a request to this server, and this one we can call it a server. So it will send a request to this server, and this server will identify this phone with a public IP address. So a response, it's a public IP address which knows the communication between these two. And also when the phone B wants to communicate, it also sends a connection to this stand server, and it also gets a response with the public IP address, so that it knows which IP address to communicate between the two. The purpose of this server is because of when two phones wants to communicate, there's issues with firewalls, the NATs. So that's why this server was introduced, which is a stand server. So the server, it's there to overcome the issue of different phones on same on public IP address, and also the communication to be done without the firewalls. So that's why we have this. It's mandatory to have a stand server. So after having this, now the phone have its own IP address and its own public IP address, A and B. But for this phone A, B, but the communication is not yet done. This is just the communicate the connection to identify the phone public IP address. So for phone A to be able to use WebRTC, we have, it's supposed phone A, let me draw a single line like this, and let me come here and draw a single line also like this. So phone A will send an offer to phone B, and it will be an offer. So in an offer, it sends they call them SDPs. It sends SDPs, and the type of an SDP, when you are initiating, when phone A, which is a caller, when initiating an offer, this is being a caller and the other one is a callee. And this one is a callee. So that's when you see, when you send an offer, that's when you see a phone is now ringing, and the phone B will now create an answer, and we send an answer to phone A. And an SDP, it contains the IP address that the phone is, that the phone A is communicating. And we say if IP address on A is 0013, and it will be there in the SDP. So you don't have to know more of the things that are SDP, but you know that protocol is used, is being used for describing the communication. It's not the communication is not yet there, but we are sending an offer to phone B, and the phone B will get this offer. After getting the offer, it will then accept it. So by accepting it, we call it an answer. Sorry. So when the phone A currently it's waiting for an answer from B. So if phone B did not answer the phone call, that's where you're seeing that the phone will just end, and because there's no answer came back, so it means the phone A was waiting for an answer from phone B, but the user didn't accept the answer, so didn't accept the offer. So when the phone A received an answer, because it's waiting for an answer, it also sent its own SDP here, like the communication between the phone B and phone A, and we know that the phone B is communicating on this public IP address during the communication that was done on the server. So after receiving an answer, this phone is listening to an answer, and after getting the answer, the phone A will send its candidates. So it will send the candidates, and it will send the list of candidates, and these candidates are also have the IP addresses that the phone can use for communication. So it's now, so when we send the phone A sends the candidates, also the phone B will send its own candidates also. So this phone are now listening for each candidate for the communication. So once we have the candidates and everything is now working and the communication is established between the two phones, that's where here you see the PS are now connected. There's now a communication. So now you are now able to speak. A phone A and phone B, they are now in communication, and you are now sending audios, videos. You are now able to do screen sharing, video conferencing, everything that you think of, like broadcasting, file sharing between the two. So this is how the WebRTC works. In brief, we are just saying phone A will create an offer, and phone B will accept, and that's the answer. And the A will send the candidates, and the B will send its own candidates, and the communication is being established. So let's dive into the code, and I will show you how these things are working based on the flow that I showed you. So here I created a voice calls WebRTC handler. So in this we have the IC servers, which is, like I told you, we are using a stan. So this stan is public one we are using for Google, and I have my own 10 server. I created my own 10 server, and I created, this is my username and password, and this is my server. So you can create your own server if you don't want to use Google one. So this protocol we are using UDP, and in UDP we are not more concerning about delivery. So if there's bad communication, some of the things you drop, some of the words you won't get them. That's where you say please repeat. We are not concerning about acknowledgement. So that's why we are using UDP. We use UDP when you are doing these voice calls, videos, or even you are streaming a video on YouTube, whatever. It's UDP, it's not TCP. So you must know that we are using UDP protocol. So we need a stan server. So the stan server will have public IP address from this, right? So we have these constraints, and for the offer we want to do like it's a video, it's an audio. We are not doing a video. So that's why I said when creating a connection, I'm telling the other user that no, we have to communicate via voice. So that's why I added this configuration. So don't worry about these declarations. So let's go into the create room. So when you want to start the communication, we create a room, so that the second we want to create a room so that the callee will know where to get the SDPs, where it gets the type of the communication, the SDPs. So we can store these SDPs in the database, and we are using Appwrite. So we're just creating a room, and you can identify a room with just an ID. You can create a unique ID for each room. So after creating a room, we are creating a connection, which is the connection between two devices. So in this connection, we just pass the configuration of our servers, and then we have our local streams, whereby we will listen to we add the streams of sound. So if I'm talking, I'm adding the sounds into this the list of sounds everywhere that I'm talking. So the communication we have that sound. So after doing this, we have a connection. We have established a connection, and it means we are now connected to Google servers and my TAN server. So it means the connection is there, and I'm now creating listeners, so that I'll be listening to any changes that is happening to my connection. So for remote connection, it means if the callee, when I'm speaking with the other callee, when he sends some media streams, in terms of streams, I put them in the we are listing them in the add stream, and you can see we are using remote stream. So don't worry more about many things. It's a bit complicated, but you understand it further. Just grasp the concept. So here we create a room. Means we just create if it's MySQL database, just created a row with an ID. I'll show you on Appwrite. So after creating a room, we are also listening to the candidates, but for now I'm just adding the list of the candidates into a list. So by default it's true. My list is true. I'm waiting for an answer. After receiving an answer, I will then send the candidates to the callee. So for now it's true. So after a user answered, I will set this value to false, and I will be listening to this now, and the other device will be listening to my candidates. So this Callee is just another collection of caller candidates, and we have also Callee candidates. So here, that's where we are talking of. I'm the caller. I'm the one who's creating a room. So I'm the one who is creating an offer. So here we are sending the offer, and I'm using the constraints. And in my offer, I'm telling the other user that it's going to be an audio, it's not a video. So after doing that, in my connection, I put the offer, and I will save the offer in the database. Right? After sending the offer into the database, I will then listening here. I will be listening to the callee. So if the callee answers the phone call, so don't worry. Here, this is just Appwrite real time, and I'm listening to something. This is how you implement real time. So the most important thing is this. So right now the callee is false because I'm not. So far the callee didn't answer the phone call. So when the callee answers the phone call, I'll set it to true. So as you can see here, in that same database, there's in description of SDP description, I'm listening to the answer. If there's an answer in that, I will then, oh, it's okay. Now I have an answer. It means the callee have answered my phone call, and I'll set the callee answer to true. It means the callee answered my phone call, and I'll take the description that is coming from the answer, which means I know where the callee, the details, like the connection between my callee, right? Then I'll set it as a remote description because the callee is like on the remote side. And then after doing that, I will, since I have the candidates, I will just say the candidates that I added previously when I was listening, I will save them in the database because I know the callee is listening to my candidates. And by this time, after receiving the callee, that's where we send the candidates. I'm sending the candidates to the callee. So after doing this, it means we now have the communication between the caller and the callee. So what happens when the callee received an offer? So that is called a join. So when the callee receives an offer, the callee will join using the room ID. Since you know the room ID, the room is the SDPs. It knows where the caller details, like communication details, which is the SDPs. So we create the connection from the stand server, like what we did, and it's also listening also. And after doing that, we create here. We create the candidate description for the caller. Where is the set descriptions? I'm looking for the, okay, here we are getting the descriptions. So after getting the descriptions, we are getting the details of the caller. We are getting the details of the caller. So these details, so as you can see on my loop, I'm checking for an offer. So if I have the offer, I mean I'm able to communicate with the caller. So I'll set this as a remote description because it's now this one is a callee. So the remote description is of the caller. And on the other side of the joining, which is the answer, will be the local description. As you can see, the answer here, we are creating the answer, and after creating the answer, it will be set to the local description of the callee. And after doing that, we'll save the answer. After saving the answer, this is the answer that is listened by the caller. So after the caller will after persisting this, the caller will get the answer and the communication will be established and the candidates will be sent, and this callee is listening also to the candidates of the caller that we are seeing here. We are listening for the caller's what? Caller's candidates. And we are setting on the connection. I'm setting the connection of the caller, the candidates of what? Of the caller. This is how the WebRTC works. Only that. So by doing this, the connection has been established and the two devices will be able to connect. So other things that we are seeing, it's like we are doing some like we are enhancing an application, like when someone is calling for and did answer for 1 minute, we can hang out, we can put a countdown. So after 1 minute we can drop the call. It means the user is busy, for better application user experience. And also we have an hang up. So if user did answer the call, we want to disconnect the remote stream and the local stream, and you can delete our offer. And as you can see, we can delete our offer, and we can delete also the callee candidates, because it's not necessary, and to save those details once our application is working. So here we can go. So let me show you the database structure. So we have the room. Let me go to the models. It will be easier by showing. So, let me add this to Git. So here on the room Appwrite is just simple. This is the room ID. Is it a group call? It's false. It's call type, it's a voice. And the RTC session description is the SDP, like what I told you, where you have a communication, media communication, and who is the caller and who is the callee. So the callee is always waiting for, if we are the callee, you are waiting for something, that is someone is calling you. So that's why we have been listening to the callee, like anyone will be listening to any calls that coming to him by setting this property. And the status, let's leave it, we are not using for now. In the future videos we shall implement the status, like the user is on call, so that someone can be notified is on another call. So here, this is the candidate model. In the candidate model, we just have the list of candidates. These are used for communication, for establishing the communication between the two, and they will choose the proper communication between the two, which the callee and caller will agree upon. So after doing this, this is the RTC description, which is a type and also a description. Type will be an offer or an answer. So it depends. If I'm the caller, I'll create an offer, and the callee will create an answer, and we'll be able to communicate between the two. And this is the voice calling page. What we are doing, the voice calling page, we're just calling our handler and our room ID. It's okay, and we'll be listening to the some changes. Like on our listeners, we have the listener, where we'll be listening to the state of the communication. Like when the call has been connected, we know that the callee answered the phone call, so we get the state which is connected. And here, this is the connecting. Maybe there's you lose network connections, and this is for new connections. And we have the closed, failed, disconnected. It means there's no connection now, so it's better to drop off the call. So the implementation here, so you have the calling. So when you're starting the application, when you are creating, when someone click the call icon, we are initiating a calling. So the status will be calling, and here we create a room. So we get a room ID. So after, right now, we're starting to listening to the countdown, to waiting for an answer. So the receiver will receive, and like the callee will receive a ring. It will be ringing. So if when it is ringing, we play a sound, a ringtone. That's why you see when you hear the ringtone sound, and we pass the room ID, which is being used for connection. So the user will then click the answer. Let me show you. This is the accepted. Okay, when the phone is ringing, this is the view for ringing, and we show the text the phone is ringing, and the user will click the button to answer. This is the button, and we will say we'll join the room. So after joining the room, the connection is now established. And this one, on this we have the cancel, and we change the state of this one to be accepted. When it's now accepted, you can see we have the cancel button, and we have the time toggling for the time that you are having on the call. So this is how it works. So in our dashboard, I just add a listening incoming call method, and in this we'll be listening to the phone calls. So we'll be listening to the collection room. So this is the collection room. I'm listening to the collection room, and for this room, I'm listening where the caller user ID is scored to my username. The callee means I'm the callee. I'm waiting for someone who's calling me. So if someone trying to call me, if this thing matches, it means I received a phone call. So after receiving a phone call, I will be navigated to the caller page, to the voice calling page. And when we're implementing a voice call, we shall do some validation. We know in the room state, we know that we have to call it call type. So we implement an if statement here. If the call type is video, let's go to the video page. If it's voice, let's go to the voice page. Right now I implemented the voice page only because we only have the functionality for voice only. So by doing this, let's run the application. So both of my applications are now running. So let me try to code this one. Remember, this one is an iPhone and this one is an Android. So don't worry about the design, it's still bad. We'll fix this later. So let me code this one. I will click the call one. And this phone is now waiting for a call. So this one. So let me show you this in the Appwrite. So now we created the room. Let me show you the room. This is the core rooms. You can see we have two lists of rooms here, and one of it it's the one that we are currently using. So I will answer this one. So after answering this one, the application will send some candidates. So now the communication is now there. As you can see on this, you can see the candidates that are being sent. So even if you come here, you can see everything that is happening to the currently I'm on Wi-Fi. So if I cancel the phone call, let me cancel it. You can see the status. You see now I deleted the record, and if I come here, now the state has been changed, and now the state has been changed, and the application will just automatically go back. You can see without it will just go back automatically. because I implemented the logic when canceling, it will go back. So I didn't log in the states of the application like cancelled or disconnected. This is how these things works. And if you come to we have this, which is caller candidates. These are the candidates that are being sent to the user, and we have a room ID to know which these candidates are for which room. So if you open the candidates here, you can see this is the candidates. Let's just paste them somewhere. So you can see this is the IP, like the IP address that I'm using. The type it's of UDP. So these are used for communication, and the application will decide which candidates to use. And so we have the Callee. These are the caller candidates, and we also have the what? The Callee candidates. So when the candidates are generated, there will be many, but few are being used. One may be used, and they decide which communication to use. So thank you guys for watching this video. I hope now you understand how WebRTC works. In the next video, we are going to implement the video, and the terminology is going to be the same. We are going to do the same, like creating candidates, creating a room, accepting an offer, answer. And in future, I hope we are going to implement sharing of screen. I want to show you how completely WebRTC works. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you are new to this channel, may you kindly subscribe and click the notification bell so that you'll be notified whenever we upload new videos. Salut coders.